Welcome back. In the midst of ongoing political developments in Nigeria, the Senate's recent amendments to its rules have stirred controversy and raised quite a lot of dust and questions about their implications for the country's democratic process. Now, in today's program, we delve into the discussion surrounding these amendments to the Senate's standing rules, which restrict first-term senators from vying for the positions of Senate President and Deputy Senate President. What ramifications does this move have, not only for the internal Senate dynamics, but also for the broader political landscape in Nigeria? Joining us tonight, right here in the studio on Politics HQ, is Senator Adeseye Ogunlewe. He is a chieftain of the ruling All Progressives Congress. Senator, thank you so much for your time. Senator Ogunlewe, the Senate has amended its rules, to restrict positions of the Senate President and the Deputy Senate President to what we might call ranking members of the Senate. These are people who've been there for not just one term, but at least a minimum of 2 terms. As far as you're concerned, what is your interpretation of this change, and what implications will it have for the Senate leadership dynamics?
Well, thank you for having me. Good evening, viewers. Well, it has ever been the convention that you have to learn on the job. You have to know the rules properly before you can lead the Senate. So it is not surprising at all if they formalize it. That has ever been the ranking of a senator is very important, so that you will have learned a lot about procedure. The Senate has a lot of respect for procedure. You know what to do. You have done it before. It's not going to be pleasant for a new person who is just 1 week old in the Senate to now say, I'm the Senate President, or I'm the General. That doesn't work out at all. I think it's appropriate what they have done.
Okay. What are the implications of having a new person, like you said, who's just a week old, ascending to the position of Senate President?
How is it possible for a brand new entrant into even a club, ordinary club? You are a first-timer in that club, and you want to be the president or the chairman of that club. How much have you known the culture of the club? How much knowledge do you have about the procedure of the Senate? I think even not only 1 term, about 2 terms will be appropriate. It is not for the fresher. No. It's going to be a total calamity.
But Senator, a calamity in what way, sir?
There are, okay, you want to go into executive section. What do? If you are a newcomer, you want to go to appropriation bill to pass it. You have to be the chairman as the Senate President. You come down to the floor. You don't sit on the high table. How will you know what to do? How do we know when is the chairman and when is the Senate President? How will you know? It doesn't just work out. It doesn't just work out.
But Senator, it could be argued that you could be taught these things, you could be trained, and those who were there before you can guide you. I want to cite an instance. The current Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, it could be argued, was a first-time senator when he assumed to the position of a minority leader. Even as the Senate President, some are saying that, once or twice he receives guidance from those who were there before him.
Minority leader has very little role to play. Running the Senate is complicated, very, very complicated. Look, there are rules. The person in charge, the chairman of rules of the Senate, we have the leader of the Senate. There is a lot of procedure. There is a lot to learn on the floor of the Senate. You cannot just come and say you are the Senate President. You'll be lost in the process. It doesn't just work out at all. And that is the convention. You have to learn on the ropes. You have to learn the job. You have to have participated at least for 4 years of one term before you can say you are going to vie for the name of the, for the position of the president. A new person will never be able to cope. Learning on the job will take a lot of destruction, a lot of time, a lot of ridicule. Because they will mock him. You know, he doesn't know, the procedure, the process.
Okay. All right. Senator, so some have argued that, these new amendments could be unconstitutional. What are your thoughts on this perspective, and do you believe that these changes infringe on the principles of democratic representation?
It's the other way around. The Constitution prescribes the Senate can regulate its own proceedings. So whoever is saying it's unconstitutional has not read the Constitution very well. Under the Constitution of Nigeria, they have the authority and power to determine the process, the procedure they want to adopt in the floor of the Senate. And that is the Constitution.
Opponents of this amended rule argue that it violates the 1999 Constitution as amended, in which Section 50, subsection 1 says, and I quote, "There shall be a president and deputy president of the Senate who shall be elected by the members of that house from among themselves." Full stop. Sir, what are your thoughts on that?
That is the Constitution part of it. Go to the section of the Constitution that prescribe the authority of the Senate to prescribe the rules and process of the Senate. That is the basis for that amendment. That is where they derive their power and authority from. They are totally in control of the proceedings of the Senate. They can they can amend their rules. They can make their rules. They can even talk about precedents. The hierarchy of the structure of a nation. The president, the vice president, the speaker, the chief judge of the federation. They can do so by law and determine the hierarchy of the participant in the political structure. They have so much powers.
Senator Ogunlewe, I guess you're referring to Section 56 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please permit me to go there. Subsection 1 of Section 56 reads, "Except as otherwise provided by this Constitution," it says, "any question proposed for decision in the Senate or House of Representatives shall be determined by the required majority of the members present and voting, and the person presiding shall cast a vote wherever necessary to avoid an equality of votes, but shall not vote in any other case." I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but this one says that except provided otherwise provided for by the Constitution. So does it not mean that it negates their decisions on the floor of the House of National Assembly it negates it, it relegates it to behind the Constitution, under the Constitution?
No. There is a provision in the Constitution that gives power and authority to the Senate to determine their own rules and processes. So that is the section you have to read.
All right. This move came shortly after, the alleged impeachment plot against Senate President Godswill Akpabio, because you're talking about the fact that it's not done, that a first-timer will become Senate President, because he or she may lack experience, but the rumors are rife that it is because Akpabio does not want to be upturned or removed. What do you say about that aspect of things? What do you think, Senator? What do you think, or what do you perceive might be the reason for this alleged impeachment plot against Akpabio this early into the life of the 10th Senate?
There are two different things. The procedure for impeachment of the Senate President is prescribed too. You don't need to exclude first-timers before you can impeach the Senate President. There are so many of them who are ranking senators who are not first-timers that can be Senate President. If they still want to impeach him, they can go ahead. But the Akpabio that I know, he has the skill to outmaneuver all those people who want to impeach him. He's not going to sit down and allow you to impeach him. The process, you must have two-thirds majority.
But it is suspected that this is because, Yari, who contested for the the Senate president's seat against Akpabio, he gave him a good run for his money because it was about 40-something votes to Yari and 63 votes, I think, to Akpabio. It was a bit close. Yari is a first-timer, though he was a ranking member, you can call it that, of the House of Representatives. So it's believed that that is why they don't want this to happen again.
No, Yari is a ranking member. Once you are a member of National Assembly, you are not a newcomer in whatever form, because you must have witnessed the process and procedure of the House of Representatives. So how can they call that one a newcomer? This amendment does not affect him. If you are a member of House of Rep, you have equal rights as a ranking senator. You can never be excluded because of this amendment. No.
What are your thoughts on Balarabe Abbas Lawal, who was screened today? He's a replacement for Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, who was stepped down, whose nomination was rejected by the House and National Assembly, Senate particularly. We know that Balarabe Abbas Lawal had some issues while he was going through the screening process and slumped on the floor of the Senate. Your thoughts, sir?
Maybe he was tired. They will revive him, and then they will screen him whenever he's ready. Anybody can slump. Anybody can be tired. We don't know his condition of health. That doesn't have anything to do with his personality. He will come back and get screened, or maybe he has been screened too. So slumping or being stressed or distressed is a condition of the personality, and it is nothing big at all as far as I'm concerned.
Senator Ogunlewe, apart from the amendments to the Senate standing rules regarding who can or cannot contest for the principal seats in the Senate also created additional standing committees. They've increased the committees from what it was to over 80 standing committees now. What are your thoughts on this, and how does this expansion, as far as you're concerned, affect the functionality of the Senate? Do you see any potential advantages, of having more committees in the House?
The main function of the Senate or the National Assembly, so to speak, will decide with the type of leadership we have at the committee level, because it's only debate that is on the floor at plenary. But when you want to go into the nitty-gritty of any issue you are discussing, it goes to the committee. And the committee, there can be specialization. If you have a committee on transport, you have a committee on green economy, you can have a committee so that they can critically assess and deeply discuss issues relating to the subject assigned to that committee, and come to the floor of the Senate with a properly articulated position. So it is to the advantage of the country if you have such level of division in the Senate in form of committees to enable them discuss matter more deeply and efficiently.
Senator Ogunlewe, months into the life of this administration and this 10th National Assembly, the Senate's committees are yet to be inaugurated, or the leadership of these committees are yet to be inaugurated. What's your take on this? Why is it taking this long, in your opinion?
There are always a lot of intrigues, infighting, balancing, zonal. Which zones is in charge of this? We have to balance it properly. If not, there can be conflict in the floor. And there is a committee of, principal officers of the Senate. They sit down, they consult with the party, they consult with the opposition, so that there can be harmony on the floor of the Senate. So you don't need to hurry it, because the composition of the Senate now is a little bit more complex. NLP is there, NMPP, yes. Labour Party is there, SDP is there, PDP is there, APC is there. You must carry everybody along, not on equal basis, but at least nobody should be excluded. Zone, ethnic nationality, religion. So many things will come into the fore. for you to balance things up and reduce tension within the Senate. So you cannot be over patient to be able to do a very good job.
Right. Thank you very much, so very kindly for your time. Senator Adeseye Ogunlewe is an APC chieftain, or chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. So thank you very much for your time. We'll keep our eyes on the Senate to see what happens, in the coming weeks and months ahead as we progress into the life of this 10th Senate. But thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.